On cosplay fans, Evil Dead fans, Power Ranger fans, and pretty much anybody else who randomly comes across my page. Today I'm going to be going over a little bit of what I've got going on with Aquaman. Now, as some of you may or may not have heard, Aquaman is a $1 billion DC movie, the first movie that DC put out that really hit the kind of success that Marvel did. And to be honest with you, they really didn't stick to any source material. They kind of redid the whole mythos of Aquaman, but Aquaman's a pretty boring character, actually, with the exception of a little bit of what Jeff Johns wrote. Most of Aquaman kind of sucks, so I'm totally fine with them completely re-evaluating it. But what made it so successful is that they kind of just let Jason Momoa be Jason Momoa and used his style. And a lot of the costume that he wears comes directly from the personal clothers and jewelers that he enlists to buy his personal clothing out in Hollywood. We now know that most of the jewelry that he wore in the film came from a couple different people, primarily from King Baby. King Baby USA is the jewelry line that he uses, and he and Lenny Kravitz use. A lot of rock stars use it. And so those rings and things are available on King Baby's site, which is, I think, available at like Tribal Hollywood USA or something like that. But they're like $800 to $1,000 for no other reason that they're based in LA, and they think that's what things cost when you have a shop in LA. So anybody who's been to LA knows what I'm talking about. It's fucking ridiculous. So there are alternatives, and we're going to go over a little bit of the alternatives with some of the jewelry here today. So first of all, the Knuckle Ring, which is a King Baby USA ring. There is an equivalent of this online, which is made in China, and it is cast from an actual King Baby one. This particular one only costs about $3 to get it, and then you just have to wait like 2 months for it to ship or whatever. I acquired a few of these in a trade from somebody else. I sent off some props that I have, and they sent me some of theirs. But I know that you can get these from China now, and it looks just like it, except that it's super shiny silver. Now, the one in the film, unfortunately, is like a gunmetal color, and the knuckle pieces on the top are gold. They're actually brass. There's a brass inside, and has the King Baby USA etched into it. So this particular ring, if you just buy the $3 one, you're ready to rock and roll. You can get it on eBay. They're not in short supply. If you want it to be more screen accurate, you got to do a little bit of work on it, which I have done, and we're going to go over. So the first thing you do is you can do a quick mold of the ring. This is just that mold putty. I just literally pressed it in sideways and cast myself a replica. And it's the color I want. It has the coloring changes that I needed. And while the resin was still curing, I stretched it out a little bit more so it fits more comfortably on me. This is what I'll wear to cons and stuff. It's light. It doesn't matter if I F it up, because if I do, I can just simply cast another one. And I like it a lot. This one is really cool to just have. It'll go in my display case. I collect rings and jewelry from replicas from films and stuff, but I won't actually wear this with a costume just because it's not accurate. And even though it looks really nice, everything needs to be weathered. It needs to be grunged, and I don't want to grunge up my silver one, so I'm not going to do that. So that's an easy fix for doing this. Actually, I think he wears it the other way around. But so again, mold putty, and then you're rocking and rolling. So very easy. I did the quick dry resin. I put a little aluminum powder in there just to kind of give it some sturdiness and coloring, but it's very, very easy to weather and stuff. So easy peasy. This is the ring worn on the same hand, so just like this goes on the index finger of the left hand, this goes on the ring finger of the left hand, and this ring is another one of those China knockoff rings. The only difference is if you get the real King... This looks just like the King Baby one, which is done in gold, but the only difference is it says King Baby USA on the inside, but you're wearing the ring, so no one's going to see that, so if you get this one from China, it's actually... Basically, it's identical to it, and to be honest with you, you can get this one and this one at the same time. I've seen them listed together, so the left-hand rings are completely covered if you get this and this, and that's what he wears on his left hand. So you get these two off of eBay, you're good to go. If you want to take it a step further, you can cast it and make yourself a more accurate-looking, grunged-up gunmetal replica. He also has a bangle that looks just like this that goes on the left wrist, and that's the gauntlet. And over the gauntlet, now, I just happen to have one of these anyway, so I'm using this for now, but you can buy a cheap one of these. It's like $11, and it has a little joint at the bottom so you can wrap it around, and eventually I will get one. I'm just not interested in it right now. This is more than enough for what I want to do. I just need the look. And the gauntlets themselves, I'll do another video on that another day, but you really just need strips of leather, and you wrap them up, and you put some belt straps on them, and you're good to go. They're very easy to make and shape, and it's not a problem, and especially when you have that sort of primitive kind of look that he goes for. Super, super simple. The right hand, little difficult. So, again, King Baby did one of the rings on the right hand. It's the big egg-shaped turquoise ring. There's two different ones floating around. There's one that looks like this, and it's got the stripes, it's got the grooves cut into it, and it has the turquoise scale pattern in it. That's not screen accurate. Don't buy that. The one that you want, there is one that they're selling on eBay. I have one coming. It's pretty big, and it has supposed to have a turquoise stone in the middle, but it's not. It looks like a marble stone. So I'm going to have to repaint that and, again, do the gunmetal thing. I'm actually going to have to paint that physical ring because I think casting that will be a bitch. I haven't gotten that one yet, but that's the main ring on his right hand. The big problem everybody ran into was what the hell was on the ring finger of his right hand. Screen caps reveal it looks basically like a cross with 4 dots around it. So what I did was I took a piece of foam disc, I used a hot glue, made a cross, and then I took tiny, tiny little fastener pins and put them in. And then I just molded it, just because, why not, in case I wanted to make a bunch. And then I attached it to one of those little DC rings that you do the Green Lanterns on. And so that is how I did the ring finger ring on the right hand, because it's going to have to be pretty sizable, because the one that's coming for the index finger is fucking huge. So for now, I'm using this until I get some more high-res caps from the Blu-ray. I genuinely don't know what that ring is or who made it. It's not a King Baby. It's not on their line that I can see, so I'm not sure where that came from. But it definitely has some type of cross pattern. It might actually be 4 pips, with the cross in the middle not being a full cross, with a 5th pip in the middle. I have to do some more zooming in and finding. The last one is the Toki Pendant, the Jade Pendant that he wears on his neck. This is the official Aquaman licensed replica. And I wanted to get one officially licensed thing, and it looked good, and it was better than the cheap ones that they sell. It is supposed to be translucent, with green and black in it. Now, this has a nice sheen to it, and there is some depth to this, which the camera was not really going to pick up. It's not screened on, but this, because it doesn't have a hole drilled in it, which all the other ones do, see, it does have a little bit of a groove, which is keeping it in place. You can unwrap this, cast this, use some clear mixed resin, and do little swirls inside of it and make your own, and it would come out just as good, and then it'll have this nice shape. But this has the size and shape that I like, so this is a worthy investment. Plus, it comes with this really cool box, which I keep all the jewelry in. Has a flip-open box. I took the inside out to give it more space, but it's got a nice fold-out. It's actually got a magnetic seal on it. It's actually pretty cool, so I think this is worth getting the real replica just for the box. And it works great. You can make your own out of just even this EVA foam and just grind it, paint it, but I like having one thing that contributed to the success of the film. And they really haven't released any of this jewelry as official replicas except for this guy, so I'll go with that. But the long and short of it was making this. Again, I like to cast things, so I know this is a resin casting of just this little thing, and I can remake them as frequently as I want. I just cut the top off and replace it, so if I ever find a better one or a more accurate picture and I make a better top, I'll do that. This goes on the left hand. These go on the left hand. So that's your whole left. There's the necklace. This goes on the right hand. And when I get the index finger ring, I'll show you guys how to repaint that, make it turquoise, make it look more screen accurate. But the long and short of it is, when you get some of these cheaper replicas, it's worth it to make some casts for yourself, so that way you can kind of play with all your different modifications and weathering patterns without wrecking the actual prop. But I actually really like how this ring came out, so if you can't get a hold of one and you want a more accurate run, you can actually message me about it and I'll see if I can help you out. But I'm not really looking to sell a bunch of this crap. I just kind of wanted it for myself. The last thing is the shirt from the desert scene, which is where you see all this jewelry. This is the Sahara Desert, Sicily sequence. So if we come over here, this is a striped shirt, which is gray and black. It is a mantra shirt, and it had a pocket, which I used a seam ripper to get that out and just take that off. This is the size and shape of the shirt that he wears. The only difference is his has a little bit more of a tan feel to it. So we're working on dyeing this probably with coffee or tea to get that the color that it should be. And by we, I mean I have a friend of mine who's helping me out with that. And I think that'll be really good. You also notice it is sitting on the scale pattern, which I have gotten super, super cheap, which we're using to build the actual Aquaman suit, which you can see over there. If you want a really high-end one, I recommend looking at guys like King Tide Creation and Dirtbag Cosplay on Instagram. They have some really slick ones where they just took little tiny foam discs and put it over muscle suits. I fortunately still am somewhat in shape, so the muscle suit is minimum. But as you can see, I did, for sake of argument, build some muscles onto the suit. So I did commit a little bit of muscle sin there. And then right now I'm kind of stuck with the shoulders. I don't know what I'm going to do to make the shoulders and make them attach the way I want. So I'm still working on that. But for now, the jewelry is ready to go. That shirt is almost ready to dye. Having all these extra straps and leather, I have the gauntlets covered. So all you really need to do to have a really high-end Aquaman casual costume is spend about $30 on jewelry and maybe $20 on a shirt. I actually got this shirt as a gift from somebody in England as a thank you for some Evil Dead work that I did for them. So thank you for that. And they will remain nameless at this time so that people don't hound them for shirts. But a lot of cool options to do a cosplay from Aquaman. If you don't have time to draw the tattoos and you don't really want to build the full suit, a little bit of jewelry and a little, a nice striped shirt, some white pants, some gray boots, and you're rocking. That's kind of everything that's going on with Aquaman. I am still working on a lot of Evil Dead stuff. As you can see, I still have the cuffs here that I'm working with and doing some different things. I am working on some more Evil Dead items. This is going to a gentleman named Vinny on the Knights of Samaria page, who's been a really good knight and sharing a lot of some of the scans of pages and things he's gotten. So I had been building him one, and then unfortunately I got a little ambitious trying to make it a little bit bigger than it should have been, and it tore, so I had to start over. So this is slowly drying, and I'll go back in and do the airbrushing and the touching up that I need to do. So it's just base color is drying right now. And then, as I said, also I have, beyond that, we're also doing a nice Army of Darkness Necronomicon as well. That is still in the works. I have a lot of crap that I am working on right now. Let's see what else we got here. I got some new elf ears for something completely unrelated that's getting done. Some news coming for KOS rings. I want to make everybody aware that that's something that's not totally dead yet. That's still in the works. I'm working with a ring maker on that, about trying to make that available for everybody. They're not going to be dirt cheap, but if you want a really real ring, we should be able to make that available to you. I am also almost done with the Phantom cowl. I'm turning my reverse flash cowl into the Phantom, and I'm going to be releasing that on the Phantom Collectors page. For those of you who know what the Phantom is, this should not be a surprise that I have a bunch of Phantom stuff laying around. I'm a huge, huge fan of the Phantom. So, but it's time to move some of this stuff out of here and kind of pass it on to the next person. I am also going to be doing some type of giveaway for the Boba Fett bucket, because the Mandalorian is coming out and I want to support that. So that will be coming as well. So yay, Aquaman jewelry, Evil Dead stuff happening, some giveaways and future stuff coming up, and the big Aquaman costume coming. And as you can see, still some Lord Draken stuff hanging around. Lord Draken hasn't died yet. Again, just some things that bring it to pause, but it'll all get completed pretty soon. But when I get the last Aquaman ring, I will show you guys how to take the actual silver item and repaint it and do it, because as I said, I think that's going to be a little too big for me to cast. So I will show you guys how to do that. In the meantime, enjoy, keep building.